The thing that you're talking about and the thing that you're going through, situation that you're describing, everybody goes through this. Every single couch flipper.
Yeah, I think what you said is a good point. It's like keeping your goals in mind because I do have goals. I have financial goals, personal goals, you know. I think that's important because, like you said, if we have this conversation in another year, I wouldn't want to be in the same position. I don't think. I think I hit like it was close to 9,000 net. And even if I could do 9,000 net a month, it'd make a huge difference for me, I think, over a full course of a year.
There are so many people across the country that are building successful six-figure couch flipping businesses that are more than just side hustles, operating from more than just out of their garage. And they're broadcasting the information about how they're doing it, how there's the secrets to their success. And that information is.
Hey, are you a couch flipper? Ready to flip smarter and faster? What I'm about to share is changing the game for flippers everywhere. Struggling to find lucrative deals? Our app's core feature, the powerful sourcing tool, is your secret weapon. It's not just a tool, it's your eagle-eyed assistant, scouting the best deals across multiple marketplaces. With our app, you'll receive instant notifications for every single couch posted in your area, meaning you will always have the first pick. And now we're rolling out an exclusive feature, one-click instant cross-listing. Imagine listing your incredible finds on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and OfferUp with just one tap. It's not just about saving time. It's about multiplying your sales opportunities exponentially. Picture this. You snag a fantastic deal through our sourcing tool. With a flick of your finger, your listing is live on 3 major platforms. More eyes on your product means more sales, and that means more profits. And you're doing it all faster than ever before. Listen to Dario, a regular user who transformed his couch flipping business.
My name is Dario Cortez from Cortez Furnishings and flipping couches for about a year and 3 months now. Within the first week, we went from flipping 5 couches to 10 couches in like 3 days.
This game-changing combination is available right now. Download Ivy Flip today and be among the first to experience the future of flipping. And here's the best part. You can try Ivy Flip for a week for free. Click the link in the description or search Ivy Flip on the iOS App Store or the Google Play Store.
So it's been a little bit since we chatted. Last time we spoke, I think what we had discussed is the importance of turnover rate, maybe doing some adjustments to your pricing to get units to move faster, because the result of having listings sitting for a while is that oftentimes you'd make concessions on pricing anyway, so why not price them a little bit more commensurately to what you think you can sell them quickly for. And yeah, so that was a couple months ago. That was actually, I think, one of the first episodes of the Couch Pod that I had ever recorded. So I'm curious to hear how things have been going for you and just to catch up a little bit. So if you could give our audience a quick intro and then get us up to speed, I think that'd be a great place to start.
Sure. My name's Tad Maiava. I've been doing couch flipping for a couple years now, but just took it full time almost a year ago now. Last February is when I took it full time, and then I think around July 2023 is when I met with Charles, and that's when we made some adjustments to my business. And since then, things have been going really well. I think I've strayed away from some things that we talked about before, like boosting your Facebook ads. I don't do that as much, but I tried to take away some core things from what we talked last time. So I'm doing way more volume than I did initially than I was doing. I don't know if you still have access to my spreadsheet, but I'm consistently doing around 20 flips a month now. When I first started, it was closer to like 12, 13. And then my profit margin or profit per flip number has gone up towards closer to 300 every month rather than, I think I was at like 200 or 220 last time we spoke. So you told me last time where I was at, I had to be at like 23 couches, 23 flips per month to hit 10K total sales a month. And so I try to be at least 20 with the 300 profit per flip number rather than 200, and that tends to be around the same amount. And then anything above 20 is always good. I had a vacation last month, so I was gone for a couple weeks, didn't get to hit that number, but I've been pretty consistent since we last talked, so that's good. I know there's lots of room for improvement still, and I remember last time we talked, you said a lot of the professionals that are making big money are up above like around 700 per flip. So I'm happy about where I've gotten to, but I still think that I could improve in a lot of areas to get that number up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing that you did really well is you're being consistent with your volume. So, moving forward, that you can flip 20 couches a month, right? And if you can flip 20, it's not that far of a jump to do 25. You do 25, not that far a jump to do 30. Just in terms of the sheer workload, you know what you're capable of now doing, right? And, so before, if you're like, how am I ever going to flip 10 couches? Or how am I ever going to flip 15 couches and like still have enough time in the day and, not be running around with like a chicken with my head cut off? With confidence going into 2024 that you can do 20 couches a day. Why? You've been doing it. And at $300 gross profit. Now, is this gross profit per flip or net profit per flip? Let's be clear.
Let me go look at my spreadsheet because I'm not too sure.
It's a big difference too. Yeah.
Oh,
That's gross
yeah.
profit.
Dang, I wasn't looking at the net profit.
Um, Go ahead and drop the link to your spreadsheet in the
Yeah.
chat here, and then we can look over those numbers together. So last year, let's say you're doing something like 14, about 15 flips on average each month. June, you had a really good month. That was reflected in your gross sales. You had a peak there of about $8,000 in gross sales. But your cost of goods is still quite high. So your best gross profit when we had started talking was about $4,000 a month. Now, if you're doing 20 flips a month, $300 average gross profit per flip, your gross profit number should be about $6,000 a month now, which is a 33% increase from what you're doing in the middle of the year. And that's nothing to scoff at, right? And depending on where you want to be with your lifestyle, that could, those numbers could be quite good. So now we're looking at the updated numbers here. And this is interesting. So July, you did 31. August, you did 31. You had a peak month in August of about $17,000 gross sales, which left you with $11,000 gross profit. After taking out your expenses, you're doing about $8,670. So, and then since then, performance has dropped a little bit. And, the thing that stands out to me is the volume, right? The volume has decreased by about 10 each month. And so in reality, it's like these 2 months you're doing 31. That's about one a day. And if you're putting up one a day, you can make $7,000 net profit each month. Extrapolate that over a year, and you're pretty close. You're pretty darn close to being a seven-figure earner. So tell me, I guess, why the fluctuation in volume?
For sure. Recently, or like, so in December, I went down because I was on vacation for 2.5 weeks. So I tried to hustle as much as I could that month, but didn't hit my numbers. And September, I think, was another down month. And I think that was just the first month of rainy weather I had out here. And I don't have a trailer, so I just use my pickup. And I think also just sometimes lack of motivation. Kind of depends. Right now, when it's snowing out, I picked up like two couches in the last 4 or 5 days, where usually I'd try to pick up one or two a day. The traffic's been crazy, snow's been falling, and I worry about getting things dirty or getting them wet. And I don't, like I said, it's just I have a tarp in my pickup, so I think sometimes weather has something to do or affects my motivation at times. And then yeah, I've been on a couple vacations as well, so that messes with my numbers too.
So you reached out to me on Facebook and you're like, hey, Charles, I'd love to check in with you again. What were you hoping to get out of this conversation today? Let's start there.
Well, initially, I just wanted to actually update my sheet because it's not tracking my 2024 numbers right now. And I
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure that going forward the rest of the year that I could have my spreadsheet show me the numbers like I did this year. So that was my main
Absolutely.
thing, is that I just wanted to get that. But Also, it was good. I think just I didn't record anything from our or take any notes from our last meeting, so I've heard a couple things that have reminded me of, a couple ways I could be better right now.
I see. Okay.
I really appreciate where you've helped me get to in this bit with this business and like it's like you said, now I know I can flip 20 couches a month and I know how everything works. It's really just on me to fine tune details. If I want to scale up or whatever, I'd have to do things differently and more efficient. But right now, I'm comfortable with where I'm at and how it works for me. So I'm not really changing too much.
That's good. That's good. Look, it's at the end of the day, it's about knowing yourself. With respect to updating the income and expense tracker, very easy. We need to release a 2024 version of it. It's really just a copy of the 2023 version. And so, like whatever your P&L looked like for the previous year, it's going to stay in like last year's spreadsheet. We're going to create a new spreadsheet for 2024. But this is a good reminder for us at Ivy Flip to release a new version of that. In addition, in the near future, we plan on having a full financial tracking dashboard integrated with our web application and our mobile application. And so you won't have to muck through a spreadsheet in the future. You'll have it all integrated with your app experience.
That's
So
cool.
be on the lookout for that soon. Because what we realized is even with the spreadsheet, you've been using it. It's pretty good, right? Like it's about as good as a spreadsheet is going to get when it comes to tracking your couch flipping finances. And yet, like, people still don't do it, right? It's there, it's free, you can access it, and yet people still don't track their finances. And so when I ask them, like, what is your average purchase price? What is your average sale price? What is your gross margin on a flip? These are answers that are still a little bit hard to come by. And we want to make this information readily available to flippers as much as possible. And we realize, like, yeah, sometimes you just have to lead the horse to water and help them drink, right? And the helping someone drink, they say you can't do it, but you actually can. And it's just through creating a better experience around the pond or the water, I guess. Give them a cup, right? Maybe take some of the algae out of the water, something like that. So I'm not going to wax poetic, but here's kind of what I see with your business, Tad. You're fully capable of achieving whatever goals you want within your business. As I think you were a little bit stuck in the mud when we had our previous conversation. We had a quick chat, 2 hours long. We talked about some of the things that were blocking you, and you went and you made it happen. And like with any human being, your motivation to improve or continue with your business is going to wax and wane. Frankly, this is why I'm in Mexico right now. We took our company fully remote in September. I was living in New York. And since September, I've basically been traveling. I was in Korea, I was in Brazil. Now I'm in Mexico. And a big part of the reason I'm in Mexico right now is it's sunny. And I know if I stay in New York, the sun sets at like 4 p.m. and everything's super expensive. And so I just stay home and I don't have motivation to go out. And so motivation is not this infinite resource, right? It's a finite resource. How much motivation you have to get up and go do what you need to do and, be successful at your day ultimately is a finite resource and something that you need to allocate accordingly. And in your situation right now, you're content, right? You're feeling pretty good. You're making more money working for yourself than you've ever made before, right? You're comfortably bringing in $6,000 like net income, like money in your pocket at the end of each month. And you could work harder, right? Instead of flipping 20 couches, you could flip 30 couches and you could make more money, but that trades off with your free time, right? And maybe you just don't feel like it. And so that's really, I think, where you're at with your business today is going into 2024. What are your goals, right? Where do you want to be? Like if we were to have this conversation in another year, what kind of conversation is this going to be? And So I'm just curious, like maybe we could talk about that for a little bit. Cause I think, the thing that you're talking about and the thing that you're going through, situation that you're describing, everybody goes through this. Every single couch flipper hits this sort of inflection point in their business. So, and we want to represent all kinds of viewpoints like that when we have these kinds of conversations, because you never know like who you're going to connect with, right? Whose story is going to remind you of your own.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think what you said is a good point, is like keeping your goals in mind. Because I do have goals. I have financial goals, personal goals, and I think that's important because, like you said, if we have this conversation in another year, I wouldn't want to be in the same position, I don't think. So I think that helps me that kind of answers my own question on what I need to get done going forward.
And this is a really good time. This is a really good time for reflection, right? End of 2023, beginning of 2024. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we're talking right now. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, let's think a little bit more deeply about it. Where do you see things going? Are you happy if this is just, if this is where, and you just said no, right? So it should be better, but in what ways? Do you want more free time? Do you want it to be more automated? Do you want more money in your pocket? What gets you excited?
Yeah, I think now that I've had a second to think about it, going forward into 2024, I think one of my financial goals, or one of my main goals for the business, would be to be closer to 10,000 net a month. I had that one good month in August after we spoke, and I did 31, and I was up there. I think I hit like, it was close to 9,000 net. And even if I could do 9,000 net a month, it'd make a huge difference for me, I think, over a full course of a year. The one month was nice, but if I could be consistent in that way throughout a whole year, I feel like at the end of the year I would be really happy with what I did. Another thing, like aside from couches, I do have a couple things that I'm like trying to get into, and I'm not sure how I would make it happen, but having more time to dedicate to those would be also nice if I could do that at the same time. I think I do have the time, but going back to the motivation, sometimes I get done with 3 flips or 4 flips and I get home and I don't really care to put time into other things that I would like to improve on. But yeah, those are a couple things I'm just thinking of right now, is that financially, if I could hit that, not 8 to 10,000 net a month would be sweet. And then also take the spare time that I do have and dedicate it to other skills that I'd like to improve on.
I see. So what other things do you have going on? Like what else is on your mind? What other objectives do you have outside of couch flipping? Because couch flipping, maybe you're looking at it as a way of making money, but these other things are things that you're more passionate about.
So one of them is just music. I've always played music since I was a kid, so I have instruments. I have guitar, ukulele, and some drums, but I, especially now, I hardly play. And then I also draw. So I've been, I apprenticed for a little while last year to become a tattoo artist, but my buddy moved out of state, so I haven't been doing that much. I know how to practice, but I don't put much time into it. So those are just a couple small things, and not necessarily things that I would like to take full time ever, but that I would like to improve on and be able to do more comfortably.
I don't know. It's very cool. Like, for example, I always have like a million projects that I'm working on, so entrepreneurship was such a big thing for me in my life. It used to be like the hallmark of my identity was being an entrepreneur, so like, especially when I was younger, like straight out of college, like it just defined who I was. I was always hustling. I was like, I always have to be working. And then, I got to a certain point where I was living my life and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to enjoy my life later. I'm going to put my head down right now. I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to become rich and successful. And when I'm rich and successful is when I'm going to start enjoying my life. So I kind of had that mindset, but I'm 31 now. I'm almost 32, and it just didn't happen that way. I never got Mark Zuckerberg rich being an entrepreneur in like my early 20s, mid 20s, whatever. And I would say around 2019, 2018, it all sort of came to a head where I had a nice business, but I wasn't super happy with my life. I had a nice business. I was in a long-term relationship. I was living in my hometown. My life was very comfortable, but I wasn't happy like deep down. I think around that time, I realized that like I can't wait to get to another point in my life where I feel more established and more successful to start enjoying my life, because life is going to start passing me by. And that's when I started to take more time and space for myself to pursue hobbies outside of my work. And maybe it sounds like you're a creative guy. You want to play or produce music. You have an artistic, creative side where maybe you can something with tattoo art, etc. And that is going to provide more intrinsic motivation for you than just flipping couches. And that's totally fine. It's more about knowing yourself than anything else. But it also means that you need to know what you want out of your couch flipping business and work to achieve that, right? Because more money is always nice for everyone. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, yeah, do you feel like the time that you're spending flipping couches trades off with your time or motivation to be able to pursue your other interests?
It's hard to say. I haven't really thought about it too deep, you know. A lot of times I'll just say I'm tired, but I don't really know where the lack of motivation comes from, or if I'm really tired, or what kind of tired I am. It's hard to say where the lack of motivation comes from sometimes. I like to blame the weather sometimes, you know. And I do think not having sun sometimes does have an effect on me. I like to blame all kinds of things, you know. But I think at the end of the day, there is time for me to do what I want to. I just need to be able to manage it a little better. So I think going forward this year, that's something I need to think about, managing my time, maybe setting days of the week where I don't flip couches. Because right now it's just on call. Whenever people want it, you got it, you know. So I think maybe that could be something I think about scheduling. Maybe even just taking Sundays off would be a huge difference. I don't know. These are all good things I'm thinking about going on into the new year. You're right. I
You
don't think
know,
just the money alone would change it. Change how, you know, it'd have to be more than just making more money a month.
yeah, man, I think like what's coming out in our brief conversation is that you need to get clear on your why, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What kind of lifestyle do you want? You know, and I'll give you an example with myself. I started my entrepreneurial journey 10 years ago. I was about 21 years old. And at one point, I had a business marketing agency making 7 figures in revenue, but I'm stuck in my hometown, Pennsylvania, and I'm in this long-term relationship. And I'm going into the office. I'm working 50, 60 hours a week. And all of a sudden, my life just seems really regular. And the excitement of entrepreneurship, oh, you're going to be your own boss. And, you know, you can hustle hard and you can, you know, create the life that you want. It just didn't seem real to me, right? And really what I wanted is more freedom, more flexibility, some openness, right? Some open-endedness in my life. And that's more of the lifestyle that I wanted and I craved. And so that's my why. That's why I do what I do. That's what drives me, right? What motivates me to continue, you know, pushing forward with Ivy Flip, other ventures in the past, is to create that flexibility and lifestyle for myself. And then in terms of a greater purpose, not only do I want that opportunity for myself, I want to create that opportunity for other people, right? And so that, you know, I've taken a lot of time over the past, and it's not overnight, you know, over the past 10 years, just thinking about like what really drives me. What kind of lifestyle do I want for myself? I think if you get clear on those questions for yourself, Tad, everything else will fall into place. It's not that it happens overnight, right? Not that overnight, you know, one day you're feeling motivated and then the next day, you know, that motivation is up 100% and you sustain that for the long term. But by starting to get clear on your why, it makes it easier to do the things that you need to do, even when your motivation is not there.
That makes sense.
and maybe it's hard to think. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, right?
No,
Tell me your why.
you're good. I understand what you're saying, and I feel like it's just gonna take some time and some thought, you know. And I do think going forward, I have a better idea of where I want to be a year from now. So I think that's important because I think it's easy to get caught up in the motions, paying bills and flipping couches. It can be repetitive. So I think like you said, if you have an end goal in mind, it makes everything easier or helps you stay motivated.
Absolutely. So, hey, look, I think that's going to be an important question for you at some point this year. Don't need to answer it right now, but something to think about. Getting clear on your why is going to help you. The other thing that will help you is making more money.
Yeah.
So, I say, like, by default, right? If you're not super clear on like where you're going and where you want to be, the least you could do is make some more money, right?
Sure.
So, and the good news is I have some ideas for you on that.
Cool.
I have some ideas for you on that. So, since we spoke in July, Ivy has also started to flip couches. And we flipped something like, I don't know, 200 couches, maybe 250 couches in the past 6 months since we started
Wow.
flipping couches. hmm hmm
That's awesome.
And, at first, I was directly involved in the flipping of couches. So, I was helping doing the pickups, I was helping doing the cleaning. In particular, I was sourcing the couches and I was listing the couches on my own marketplace profile. At this point, the business runs completely autonomously from me. I check in about once a week. I just look at the numbers. How many couches did we source? Where did we source them from? How many couches did we sell? Where did we sell them? How much money did we make? So on and so forth. And the business just runs. We have a team of VAs. We have a team, and we partner with some flippers on the ground. So we don't do this on our own. We, basically find flippers who we think have potential, but are slightly underperforming and they want help. And we come in and we partner with them. We bring in our technology, we bring in our processes, we bring in our sales and marketing expertise, and then we split the profits on couches. And what they're doing is they're doing the pickups, the cleaning, the staging, taking the photos, and then the delivery. So they're doing like all of the, let's say, the physical labor in moving the couches, and we do everything else. So anyhow, we've sold quite a few couches in that past 6 months. And frankly, we don't make a ton of money doing it, but it has been very instructive in learning about the couch flipping industry, flipping couches ourselves. So that, and just sort of seeing the growth of the industry. Went to the couch conference that happened in Denver at the beginning of December, and just seeing what everyone else was up to. And the thing I can say pretty confidently for you, Tad, is if you want to make $9,000 a month profit, $10,000 a month profit, you can do it. You 100% can do it. You just need to decide that that's what you want to do, and then take the steps to make that happen. It's really as simple as that. So, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, if you're interested in couch flipping and you're thinking about quitting your job in order to do it, maybe that was risky. He's like, oh, can I quit my job? Is there enough security? Is this going to work out? Blah, 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 blah. What I've learned in 2023 is that risk doesn't really exist. Of course, okay, maybe I'm being petulant when I say that. Of course, there's some level of risk in any entrepreneurial endeavor, but the model has been clarified. There are so many people across the country that are building successful 6-figure couch flipping businesses that are more than just side hustles, operating from more than just out of their garage. And, they're broadcasting the information about how they're doing it, how there's the secrets to their success. And that information is all out there. A lot of it is being published on this podcast, right? So if you want to make more money flipping couches, it's really as simple as making some decisions and committing to making that money. So for example, something that you said earlier is that performance in September dipped because it was raining. in July, August, you had some really good months. You flipped 31 couches, and just based on that volume, you're pretty close to hitting your financial goals. I think, you have an opportunity to make more money by selling your couches for higher gross profit per flip. So instead of 300, you could probably get to 400. Get to 400, definitely get to 500. But something as simple as like investing in an enclosed trailer, right? You're going to put money up front. Maybe you have an ongoing monthly payment. But if you commit and you want to get to 9K, maybe that's something you need to do. Or getting a bigger warehouse space and investing in staging, right? So nothing else from our conversation, I would like to at least give you the confidence that if, like, whatever you decide to do, if you decide to do it, your goals are within reach. The path is there. It's been elucidated. And if you're ever curious, you ever, need help figuring out what that path is, we're available to talk. We're always here to help our flippers.
I appreciate that. Ivy Flip has been great too. People tell me all the time I'm the first one to reach out. I'm surprised how fast you reached out. People hold couches for me all the time because I'm the first one to reach out. So it's nice to have.
Amazing. And we have a new feature coming out next week. It's our cross-listing feature. It should be live by the time this podcast is out. The cross-listing feature will let you list on multiple marketplaces with the click of a button. And so instead of just listing on Facebook, you can post your things onto Craigslist and OfferUp. In our early beta testing, it has helped flippers increase revenue by 10-20% on average. Because most flippers, it's not worth your time to list directly on Facebook Marketplace. But if you have something that'll do it for you, why not? Or, they only list on Facebook Marketplace and they're not listing on OfferUp or Craigslist, and that's because it takes time and energy. But if you could do it with the click of a button, why not? And what we find is that when you do that, you get like 10-20% more sales. So we're like, there's an opportunity on the table. We can unlock that with technology. So we're hoping to get that into the hands of our flippers next week. It's going to be integrated into your mobile app. It's included as part of your growth plan subscription as well.
Sweet. That's awesome. Sounds great.
Tad, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. It's been great catching up. I hope to, have an update on this conversation as well, maybe in another 6 months, just to see what the difference in your mindset is, and maybe a difference in your numbers as well. But thank you for joining me on this episode of The Couch Coach, and we'll be in touch soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Tad. Bye-bye.